afternoon and welcome to Policing TV. I'm delighted to be joined again by Rachel Tuffin, who is the Interim Director for the Centre for Police Productivity at the UK's College of Policing. This is the latest in a series that Policing TV is recording with Rachel and with the college. Rachel, today, hoping to hear from you about how the college is helping to bring the research work and findings into one place as far as England and Wales is concerned, so that it makes it easier to learn from the multiple police pieces of research that are going on across the country. So please do take us through that.
I will. Thanks very much, Bernard. So, yeah, we've done a couple of things already. So we've got our What Works Crime Reduction Toolkit, and we've got our practice bank. So sharing what works in reducing crime and sharing ideas from all sorts of police forces, good things that they've done, over 200 of those on the practice bank. But what we've been focused on in the Centre for Police Productivity, which is my role at the moment, is how you get stuff implemented on the ground. And actually that then gets us into this idea of how do we get a better pipeline? So get all the way from spotting the idea all the way through to actually getting something implemented. And some things get lost in the valley of death, as people call it in innovation world. So they get so far, maybe a couple of people test them and then nothing happens. So what we've been trying to do centrally is really work together in England and Wales as all of the organisations who can help with this. So we're helping spot innovation, but also spotting innovation is the Office of the Police Chief Scientific Advisor, which we have in England and Wales, and our National Police Chiefs Council coordination committee. So there's one, for a new one, relatively new, for science and innovation, and we've also got one for digital and data. And then the Home Office too, of course, and the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners also have the capacity to do that. So lots of sharing and lots of trying to bring all that together. So we've got all these we've got all these innovation examples. Then what next? So we're collaborating to put together a sort of SIFT process where we work out which ones of all of these could be really good to roll out eventually nationally, because sometimes they might be local innovations, sometimes they might be really well suited to a later rollout. And how are we going to know? So that's when we try and put in place in evaluation, spot the ones that look good, find some funds from the various different routes to get those evaluated. And we support that, help to spot which ones need evaluation, because that's one of our things, and what design you could use and so forth. And then the final bit, of course, is like, okay, we've evaluated it, looks really good, looks like it should be rolled out nationally, and then what do you do? Well, then you need implementation support, and there's various different organisations that can provide that. We're doing it obviously on the productivity ones, and what I'll do in some of the discussions we're going to have is say a little bit more about that. So the spotting and sharing, the evaluating, and then how you go about supporting implementation, because obviously forces have only got so much change bandwidth, and it makes sense for the centre to try and help with that.
There's lots of change that's gone on over the last 15, 20 years. I well remember, if we go back that sort of time period, that the individual forces in England and Wales, of whom there are roughly 40, depends how you count them, the learning between forces was limited at best. And what you're describing here is the opportunity to make sure that the information, without undue admin or bureaucracy, is properly collated, available, researched, the findings are suitably, where possible, statistically significant, and so on and so forth. We touched on before the opportunity for forces outside England and Wales to access that information. And indeed, you suggested that you'd very much welcome approaches from forces outside England and Wales in terms of future research. From what you know, is what the college doing here in the UK and England and Wales groundbreaking in terms of the approach that's adopted to collating this research? Are you aware of other jurisdictions outside, or other bodies outside the UK, that are doing something similar?
What a great question. So I don't think there are any who are trying to do it in this systematic way that I was describing there, with kind of stages in the process and trying to make those decisions in an evidence-based way. So use the evidence that we generate from these evaluations to decide what should be evaluated, then take the evaluation, and then what should be implemented, and then support the rollout on that basis. Also, what we're trying to do is work out how much support is needed. So there's a whole area called implementation science, of course, that looks exactly at that. You know, what do you need to do to get things implemented on the ground? And we're trying to decide how much is enough. So for every innovation, how much support is really needed. Obviously, there's lots of change expertise in forces as well as bandwidth. So you can draw on that, and forces have shared their kind of ideas with us about what's worked for them. Other national programs have shared with us what worked for them. And then we've looked at all the science, those kind of summaries of findings around this to work out what are the things that you need to put in place. And we're going to put together a guide on that. So I'm not aware of anybody who's doing anything. I would love to talk to them if they are, though, because it would be really terrific to be able to swap stories and ideas about how to do it better. I know the Netherlands have been doing some interesting work on innovation. But as I say, this sort of systematic evidence-based way with implementation science kind of incorporated, I don't think so, but yeah, would love to hear from anybody that is.
Well, there's an invitation to those from outside the United Kingdom. Do get in touch with Policing TV, me, and or Rachel. Um, we're going to bring this particular video to a close. There is, of course, as with previous videos we've recorded together, Rachel, on the college and its work, great deal further that we can explore, including on implementation and the challenges associated with that. But for the time being, let's draw a halt to this video and pick up on those many other matters in future videos. Rachel Tuffin, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Bernard.